I'm Sierra Scheibel, and I researched foster care and education as a part of the Every Student Succeeds Act and foster care policies. The description of this policy, the right for a student to stay at their school of origin is an important aspect in the Every Student Succeeds Act. It's to minimize student transitions from one school to the other. For students in foster care, transitions are very common, and more school stability can promote academic success. The availability of quality services to meet this child's educational and social emotional needs was a right which was listed by the U.S. Department of Education for students to stay at their school of origin. So, in order to determine if a school meets a student's best interest, it needs to meet the child's needs. And this includes being trauma informed, welcoming, including relevant services, etc. Why I chose this policy, I've had students in foster care, but I've also had parents of students who have experienced foster care. And I see the impact on their lives and such as foster care parents who were in foster care who are now teen moms, who are now single moms, who are um, jobless, etc. I researched the history of the relationship between foster care and education, and historically there were low educational expectations that social workers had for students in foster care. So a lot of the times education or the school were not considered when the student was being placed in foster care, which caused the student to move from one school to the other very consistently. Research shows that quality and consistent education increases academic success. So later, as the years went on, they realized that keeping students in a consistent school educational environment increases their success. So, to support quality, trauma-informed education, teachers should be trained for these students in their class. So, because we want to minimize the amount of transitions that students in foster care experience, we want to make sure we meet the needs of the students so that they don't have to transition out of the school or out of our classrooms. So, in order to meet those needs, we need to have quality trauma-informed education. Students need to be, or sorry, teachers need to be educated on this student population and prepared to have these students in their class. So my advocacy plan and the audience would be teachers, and we would want to enroll teachers in trainings which increase trauma awareness, awareness about this population, awareness about um, how consistency in routines and schedules can support student learning. And once teachers are educated, then well-educated teachers can create quality classrooms that meet the needs of all students. And because these classrooms meet the needs of the students, these quality classrooms are in every student's best interest. And therefore, because they're in every student's best interest, the student won't have to transition out of the classroom, move out of the classroom, because that classroom is what meets their needs. So my call to action would be phase one would be teacher education, creating and implementing trainings which encourage trauma awareness, such as the pyramid model. The pyramid model is a model which has several layers where it's very trauma informed, where teachers can assess their classroom to see if they meet each level of the pyramid. Phase two is quality classrooms. So once the teacher is educated and has an assessment for their classroom or has training, they can create a quality classroom and they can implement those trainings, which encourage trauma awareness, such as the pyramid model. And phase three, they can meet students' needs. So once the classroom is high quality, the teacher is educated, then she or he is able to meet the students' needs with services and consistent schedules, consistent routines, inclusive language, all of that. So stage 4 would be school stability. So because the teacher is educated, the classrooms are quality, and the students' needs are met, that means the student is able to stay in that classroom environment. So they have more school stability because they are not transferring out of the classroom. They are able to stay in that classroom. Thank you.